let's find a nice place to sit for a bit to read our story. Just going to walk you, oh, my garden hose. There's a huge amount of frog spawn in the pond this year. Absolutely amazing. We even found some in the grass over here. The frogs, when they were trying to lay their eggs, didn't quite make it to the pond, sadly. So I took a cup and I tried to scoop as much of it up and get it into the water as I could. If you look carefully in there, there's tons. Absolutely amazing. You see, all this is free. It's wonderful. So I think we're going to go up here to my cabin. This is where I teach Reiki. And we're going to sit and just, there we go. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to let you look at the garden, all right? Sorry if it wiggles a bit. It's really hard to read and hold the iPad at the same time. I'm sure there's a more technical way to do this, but I don't know it. Anyhow, so this is the introduction. Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love. When we were born, we were programmed perfectly. We had a natural tendency to focus on love. Our imaginations were creative and flourishing, and we knew how to use them. We were connected to a world much richer than the one that we connect to now. A world full of enchantment and a sense of the miraculous. So what happened? Why is it that we reached a certain age, looked around, and the enchantment was gone? Because we were taught to focus elsewhere. We were taught to think unnaturally. We were taught a very bad philosophy, a way of looking at the world that contradicts who we really are. We were taught to think thoughts like competition, struggle, sickness, finite resources, limitation, guilt, bad, death, scarcity, and loss. We began to think these things, and so we began to know them. We were taught that things like grades, being good enough, money, and doing things the right way are more important than love. We were taught that we are separate from other people and that we have to compete to get ahead. And we're not quite good enough the way we are. We were taught to see the world the way that others had come to see it. It's as though as soon as we got here, we were given a sleeping pill. The thinking of the world, which is not based on love, began pounding in our ears the moment we hit the shore. Love is what we're born with. Fear is what we've learned here. The spiritual journey and the relinquishment or unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts. Love is the essential fact. It is our ultimate reality and our purpose on earth. To be consciously aware of it, to experience love in ourselves and others, is the meaning of life. I'm going to shift so we can have another view here. You can just look up the garden now. Aren't I blessed to live here? Meaning doesn't lie in things. Meaning doesn't lie in things, it lies in us. When we attach value to things that aren't love, the money, the car, the house, the prestige, we are loving things that can't love us back. We're searching for meaning in the meaningless. Money of itself means nothing. Material things of themselves mean nothing. It's not that they're bad, it's just that they're nothing. We came here to co-create with God by extending love. Life spent with any other purpose in mind is meaningless, contrary to our nature, and ultimately painful. It's as though we've been lost in a dark parallel universe where things are loved more than people. We overvalue what we perceive with our physical senses, and we undervalue what we know to be true in our hearts. Love isn't seen with the physical eyes or heard with physical ears. The physical senses can't perceive it. It's perceived through another kind of vision. Metaphysicians call it the third eye. Esoteric Christians call it the vision of the Holy Spirit, and others call it the higher self. Regardless of what it's called, love requires a different kind of seeing than we're used to, a different kind of knowing or thinking. Love is the intuitive knowledge of our hearts. It's a world beyond that we all secretly long for. An ancient memory of this love haunts us at all times, and it beckons for us to return. Love isn't material. It's energy. It's the feeling in a room, a situation, a person. Money can't buy it. Sex doesn't guarantee it. It has nothing at all to do with the physical world, but it can be expressed nonetheless. We experience it as kindness, giving, mercy, compassion, peace, joy, acceptance, non-judgment, joining, and intimacy. Fear is our shared lovelessness, our individual and collective hells. It's a world that seems to press on us from within and without, giving constant false testimony to the meaninglessness of love. When fear is expressed, we recognize it as anger, abuse, disease, pain, greed, addiction, selfishness, obsession, corruption, violence, and war. Love is within us. It cannot be destroyed, but can only be hidden. The world we knew as children is still buried within our minds. I once read a delightful book called The Mists of Avalon. The Mists of Avalon are a mythical allusion to the tales of King Arthur. Avalon is a magical island that is hidden behind huge impenetrable mists. Unless the mists part, there's no way to navigate your way to the island. But unless you believe the island is there, the mists won't part. Avalon symbolizes a world beyond the world we see with our physical eyes. It represents a miraculous sense of things, the enchanted realm that we knew as children. Our childlike self is the deepest level of our being. It is who we are, and what is real doesn't go away. The truth doesn't stop being the truth just because we're not looking at it. Love merely becomes clouded over or surrounded by mental mists. Avalon is the world we knew when we were still connected to our softness, our innocence, our spirit. It's actually the same world we see now, but informed by love, interpreted gently with hope and faith and a sense of wonder. It's easily retrieved because perception is a choice. The mists part when we believe that Avalon is behind them, and that's what a miracle is, a parting of the mists, a shift in perception, a return to love. That's all I'm going to read for today. Watch the next time for part 1, the principles. Stay safe, everyone.